In this video, I'll show you how to provision compute nodes in your Oracle Private Cloud Appliance. Before a compute node can be used to host your compute instances, it must be provisioned by an administrator. You can provision them from the Service Web User Interface or the Service Command Line Interface. I'll demonstrate both interfaces in this video. To log on to the Service Web UI from a browser, enter https://admin the name of your PCA system .domain name, then provide your username and password and click sign in. To access the service CLI, you establish an SSH connection to TCP port 30006 on one of the management nodes. I'll run the command ssh admin at management node -p 30006 later in this video. I'm logged on to the Service Web UI as the admin user. Here I'm showing the admin console URL that I mentioned. To provision the compute nodes, I'll click the Rack Units button to list rack units. Here we see 3 compute nodes. After day 0 configuration, the appliance software detects the compute nodes that are installed in the rack and cabled to the switches, and they appear in the rack units list as ready to provision. I'll click the Actions menu for the first compute node, and from the list of options, I'll click Provision. I'm prompted to confirm, which I'll do. An info message appears that my action was a success, and notice the provisioning state has changed to provisioning. I'll now provision the second compute node and click Confirm. And I'll provision the third compute node and click Confirm. Notice that the provisioning state of the first compute node has changed to provisioned. If I view the action menu for this node, I now have an option to deprovision. Deprovisioning requires a few intermediate steps. You first need to select Provisioning Lock for the compute node you want to deprovision. Next, you need to select Migrate All VMs. The system will then migrate instances on this compute node to other compute nodes. After migration completes, you can then select Deprovision. When this completes, the provisioning state will change to Ready to Provision. This concludes the Service Web UI demonstration portion of this video. I'll now demonstrate provisioning compute nodes using the Service Command Line interface. I've opened the Git Bash terminal on my laptop, and I'll use the SSH command discussed earlier in this video to establish a connection to TCP port 30006 on one of the management nodes. I'll run the command list compute node. This command displays the compute nodes and the provisioning state, which is provisioned for each node. Next, I'll run the command show custom cmds compute node. This displays a list of commands that I can run against compute nodes. Notice there is a provision command and a deprovision command. To provision a compute node, run the command provision id equal and include the ID of the compute node. This command fails because the compute node is already provisioned. As I mentioned while demonstrating the Service Web UI, deprovisioning requires a few intermediate steps. You first need to run the command provisioning lock ID equal and include the ID of the compute node. I'm not going to execute these commands as I don't want to disrupt other users on this system. Next, you would run the command migrate VM ID equal and provide the ID of the compute node. This command migrates instances on this compute node to other compute nodes. And now you can run the command deprovision ID equal and provide the ID of the compute node. Finally, to exit the Service CLI interface, type exit. This concludes this demonstration. Thank you for watching. Please check our additional information on Oracle Private Cloud Appliance in the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance documentation or in the Oracle Private Cloud Appliance Learning Library.